This is for those who believe as I do. If you are not a follower of Christ, then you might want to swipe or go past this. But even if you're not, you're more than welcome just to hear what I have to say. So this comes from what I call the I would not have you ignorant files. And you may shadow block me or whatever, but it has to be said. How can you, who profess Christ and happen to be this shade of color, say that you're going to occupy till he comes, when you don't even know where to stand or what to stand for? First Thessalonians 5 and 6 says, "So let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober." But how can you keep awake and be sober when racism keeps you blind and arrogant and in a drunken stupor? Matthew 24 and 42 says, "Therefore stay awake, for you do not know the day when your Lord is coming." How can you say, yes, I'm going to stay awake and look for the Lord's return, when you can't even be aware of what your brother and sister in Christ is going through? How can you be awake for his return when hatred blinds you? Take a look at this. Among religious groups, it says, however, white Christians are most likely to say claims about non-existent racial discrimination is the biggest problem, including majorities of white evangelicals, 72%, white Catholics, 60%, and white mainline Protestants, 42%. And this is according to data provided to the writers of this article, Religious News Service, from Pew Research. In other words, those who profess to be followers of Christ and happen to be white don't believe claims of racism by black people, even black people who also believe in Christ. Too blind to even love your neighbor as yourself. Black people have been speaking about racism for centuries, but with the advent of the smartphone and internet, people are now able to see all those tales that we've talked about are actually true. You can't bird watch while being black. You can't jog or walk while being black. You can't go house looking while being black. You can't even go to the Dollar General while being black. And yet, with all of this evidence, no longer is it restricted to just tales, but we're presenting empirical evidence that shows these things are happening. 72%, according to Pew Research, 72% of white evangelicals say that claims about racism, most of it is false. So no wonder some of you hate the term woke, because no drunk likes to be told to sober up and wake up. How can you love the Lord, your God, with all of your heart and with all of your soul, with all of your mind and with all of your strength, and yet you cannot love your neighbor as yourself enough to learn of their plight, to learn of their suffering, and then say, what can I do to make a change? What can I do to make things better? May the Lord watch between me and thee.